River Phoenix plays the son who wants to quit this life on the run. An extraordinary young actor. Remember him in Mosquito Coast and Stand By Me? But unlike those roles, this part, he says, is close to his real life. He grew up in a large, very close family, traveling from town to town. In fact, he started acting at 9, singing on street corners with his sister in Caracas, Venezuela.
You grew up, I really like Caracas, Venezuela. You spent some time as a little kid?
Caracas, Venezuela, Mexico, Florida, Arizona, a number of places, a lot of different places.
Together with a family, and a big family you have.
Yeah, a real big family. By the time I was 9 years old, I got to Los Angeles, and then since then I've basically been living out of Los Angeles, but never in one house. We're always moving, like every year we move. We don't want to make a commitment. We don't want to live in one place for too long. And we're looking for that dream home that we'll eventually find. And
Now, you say we, meaning you and your family, but aren't you getting to the age when, like your character, it might be time to...
Don't say that, please.
Okay, I won't.
I'm trying to ignore that about me getting old. God.
I wouldn't say old.
I just turned 17. That means I have one more year, and then I'm out on my own. I'm always going to be living with my family, I think. Well, I'll use them as like a base camp, and then I'll branch off and do my own little thing.
Everyone on this set, everyone has said the same thing. You're terrific. You're a terrific actor and a wonderful kid. That's true.
Really?
Everyone, yeah.
How much did you pay him?
That's true.
Wow. Well, I try to be a nice guy. I mean, I don't try. I'm not a brown nose or anything, but I don't know. It's just my nature.
For this 16-year-old sports champion and school dropout, it was a choice between a career on the hockey field or the role of Snowy Bowles, a gay cyclist.
I've got a major meet that night. Chris will have a breakdown if I don't turn up, you know.
I remember stopping and looking at it going, oh,
I'm sorry.
you know, that's really bad. You know, and then I'm like, Mum, that's really bad, isn't it? And she kind of didn't disagree with me. It just like made me feel better. But then I stopped and I realized, well, look, I can see the mistakes I'm making. There's no reason why I can't change them.
And therefore there is no need to go to college or an acting school? Is that how you thought?
Maybe there was a need to, no, I didn't want to.
Why not?
You know, because the one thing that's got me to where I'm sitting is my instincts, you know, and I'm impatient. I didn't want to wait 3 years to work. I wanted to just get out there and do it.
I want to go back a little bit to the beginning. You grew up in a middle-class house with 4 older sisters.
Yes.
And you've talked a lot in interviews about being a very shy child who couldn't express himself, but then discovered that he wanted to be an actor. So do you have a memory of the first time you acted?
Yeah, very vividly, because that was the first time when I was actually saying something very confidently in front of strangers. That was back in, I think, 2003-04 with Barry John, and there was this play that I was doing, and that was the first time that I experienced that I can say something and I can influence people.
How old were you?
So I was in my first year, probably one of you guys. That was such a fascinating feeling, because I told myself, wow, I can hide behind all these interesting characters. And I'll tell everybody that don't judge me, because it's not me. When I play a character, I kind of find a way to fool myself, convince myself that I'm not me, but somebody else. And that's such a relief, not playing yourself. I'm like, what do we do every day? I'm like, we try and project a personality that we think we are, and it's too much of an effort. So when you play a character, it's so much of a relief not to play yourself, but somebody else, and you actually get paid for it.
Then you enrolled in an engineering college, where you were pretty good academically.
Yes.
But you dropped out because you wanted to be an actor. Tell me about, where did you find the clarity to do that, and what did your parents say?
So first 16, 17 years of my life, I somehow convinced myself that I don't need to speak. Because
At all?
At all. Well, I had like 2, 3 friends, and I was very open with them, but then that's it. Because, like you said, I had 4 sisters. I was so pampered and protected in my family that when I used to step out as a kid, I didn't know how to deal with people. So I was like, why are they not treating me as my family, it was a complete contrast, and I was like, okay, let me not say anything. That's very safe. So it happened for the first 16, 17 years of my life. I told myself, okay, let me be very good in studies, and that's how I can have a place in society. But I think Shamak was the first one who got me into dancing on stage, and I realized that, okay, I can not say anything, and
Still express myself.
And perform in a way that I can influence people in some sort of a way. And then he asked me to join theater. And the first play that I did, I was like, wow, what is this? What is exactly what I was missing to communicate? I'm like, I think that's the most important thing that we miss or we want in our lives. We want to be understood by somebody else. And when you act, that is what happens. I mean, like when that resonance happens, when you feel something, you
connect it.
And they get it. That's the resonance that happens, and you feel so good about it. So I took 3 years into thinking that, okay, is it just that I want to be next Shah Rukh Khan? Or
a lot of dreams that man has inspired.
Yes, or it is the thing that I'm doing right now that excites me so much. And I was sure in the 3 years of doing theater, and I was like, wow, I'll be wasting another year in doing engineering.
So 3 years of engineering.
Yep. I was like just there. 2 more semesters and I would have been an engineer, and probably...
and we would have been a lot sadder, right?
my dad would be very happy. He still tells me all the time that I know that you're doing well and everything, and I like you when you act. But that degree, man, you could have...
What is your family life like? Now, I know you're professional people, but you know, when you're the family unit, what are you like?
It's hard to say. We're all over the place. There's a lot of stuff that's out there in the open as far as feelings.
If you get angry,
it's out there. It's out there. Everything's out there. It's really honest and immediate, and because of that, we don't let things build up too long so that we can deal with it and talk about it. And there's not many head games that go on. If we're upset, we don't show it by walking around with a real grim look on our face for hours and hours on end. You know, we'll deal with it, and we won't, you know, we replace the guilt that most people give each other when they're upset with someone else with real honest feelings, whether they be real positive or drastically negative. My parents are very different. I mean, they are very aware of how things change, and there will always be a place at you know, the home front to crash if I need it, and I'm, as of now, very happy, and whatever happens, happens.
As Heath tells it, it was that impatience of youth that first brought him to Sydney as a 16-year-old. With just a few cents in his pocket and a lot of faith in his beaten-up Mazda, he crossed the Nullarbor.
It was literally jumping in that car and planting the foot down and just bolting out and...
Running away at all?
Oh no, running too, you know. I've got nothing to run away from in Perth. I love my family, I love my friends, I love the city. It's just there was all this going on outside of that, and I just had to be part of it. I had to go out and learn for myself.
Most Australian actors, like Brian Brown, were well established and well into their 30s before attempting Hollywood.
You're just too good to be true.
Heath couldn't wait that long. He was just 19 when he got himself an agent and a starring role in a teen flick.
And I thank God I'm alive. You're just too good to be true. Can't take my eyes off of you.
Did you ever think twice, here I am, another Aussie actor making the pilgrimage to Hollywood?
Yeah, I did, but I never moved there expecting anything to happen, or, you know, I kind of went there with the attitude of, well, I've got nothing to lose.
So how do you react then when people say you're pretty lucky?
I worked really hard to be in the position I'm in now. I really did. But yeah, it's easy for people to just say, oh, it's luck, you know, and maybe it is. I don't know.
Do you live a celebrity lifestyle? Do you
drive around in convertibles.
Let's wave to the paparazzi.
You love the
Let's
paparazzi.
piss them off. Hey guys, how you doing? Yeah. Jerks.
You don't like them?
No, man. They like hound you. They sit out there and follow you. And, yeah, it sucks.
Hey. Hello, over here. Thanks, Heath. Over here.
It's a frenzied reception, normally reserved for royals and rock stars. And in this full house, on centre stage, is a rather bemused lad from Perth, wondering what all the fuss is about.
Is it always this crazy?
No, it's a shock for me because I haven't, I haven't seen any of this. I haven't experienced any of this before.
So you're feeling famous right now?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, this is how you're supposed to feel.
My ex-college mates, one of them is sitting right here in my shirt, they thought that I was that disaster that folks in engineering and B schools should never become. So I had to prove a point to everybody. I had to prove a point to my family. Most importantly, I had to prove a point to myself. And this was the time when I was also a background dancer. So I was dancing behind all the possible stars that you can think of, Shah Rukh Khan, Shahid Kapoor, everybody. And I was thinking to myself while I was performing, okay, it's just 3 steps away, there I have to get. And everything will be sorted. And I kept going like that. And 2 years later, guess what? I got myself my first big break. I was selected for a primetime show on a TV. Now hear me out, it was seriously a big break because I started earning. People started recognizing me. To be honest, I would deliberately go and roam in all these malls so that people would look at me, smile, ask for my photo. And I was watching myself on TV for the first time. You have no idea how it feels for somebody like me to, I was looking at me and I was looking at myself every day on TV. It was a big, big, big high. I also suddenly discovered that I actually had many friends who were absent all this while, but suddenly they popped up. And the show became popular. I was making good money to a point that money stopped being a differentiator in my life. And I was becoming more and more popular. Now I cannot go to all those malls that I was going all alone. So I wanted somebody to be with me, to save me. I bought myself my first dream house. I bought myself my dream car. And just a note to you as well. I was getting such female attention that my engineering college friends could only possibly dream of. So I was having a time of my life. And then something unusual happened. I got used to everything. And I felt cheated. I stayed with all these dreams for 10 and 15 years of my life. I was promised happiness and I was promised success. But all these things stayed with me just for a few days. And I'm punctuating me because I started from zero money and zero recognition.
Have you had any surprises in the way maybe that the industry sees you or the way that your friends see you after you've been nominated?
Some things change like immediately as soon as it happens, as far as but I don't pay much attention to that because it's usually for the wrong reasons, I mean, it should be solely based on the work and not on an award as far as respect goes. But press is always looking for a little twist to a story, and what I've learned is it all turns out very superficial. So you need to become what they want. You need to give what they put out.
Because you normally don't do,
I don't
do
do
a lot
television. I don't want to sit there and be a puppet and you become more of like a speaking piece for their show than your own film. And so then you have shows all the time showing clips of the film, speaking about the film. You don't have, and then we talk to the actor, Rubber Penis, and you know, I sit down and like, yeah, and then like, yeah, I had a fun time doing this project. Yeah, it's just stupid, man. It's just a waste of time.
Right.
It bores me. And it scares the shit out of me too, to be frank.
To be in front of a camera?
Oh, it's so frightening.
Oh.
That's why when I'm on set, I never look at the camera.
Right.
You don't look at the camera.
That's funny.
I'm very frightened right now. I'm dealing with it somehow.
Yeah, you're dealing with it quite well.
But I really am frightened.
But he couldn't do much to stop the splash it made on the internet or to control what's known as the Heath wave sweeping the World Wide Web.
Have you checked out your websites? Heath Ledger is hot. Heath Ledger, Estrogen Brigade.
I don't know what to think about that. It's embarrassing, you know. It is. I get embarrassed.
Well, how do you explain this effect you have on women?
I don't know. It's just happening, and it's something that you can either be super aware of and indulge in, or just live your own life and forget about it.
I mean, you get hounded a bit in Australia. You're, you know, a big star anywhere, but in Australia, the paparazzi kind of gives you a hard time?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, look, they're bored, I think. You know, they don't get many people going down to Australia, and so it's you know.
They've got all the photos of Crocodile Dundee they would ever want. They're like, we got to get Heath now.
Yeah.
So you come to Brooklyn, and the paparazzi, they don't really want to go into Brooklyn too badly,
no,
right?
they couldn't care less. It's great. Yeah.
Yeah. You settle down, Terrell. Come up there. I'm gonna have Mr. T take care of that guy. But so you're having a good time, and I know that sometimes in Australia, when you've had a hard time with the paparazzi, you know, and it's common among stars, they tend to lose it once in a while. You've actually thrown, you throw stuff at them. Is that true?
Yeah.
I think people are behind you on that. I don't think anyone's complained. But what do you throw?
I've thrown an egg.
You've thrown an egg?
Yeah, not at them, just kind of next to them so it splatters up against them.
You put a lot of thought into it.
But that's how pathetic it is. Like, that's what we were reduced to, you know?
Right,
like, you can't actually stand up and slap them. I mean, when they kind of spy in on you and you're trying to, like, bathe out in the sun and you're with your girlfriend or your friends or your family, and they're spying in on you, it actually feels like you're getting a slap across the face.
Right.
And we can't physically stand up and hit them back, of course. It would be rude and against the law.
Right.
So you get an egg and...
That's a good idea. Do you carry eggs with you? Do you have an egg dispenser?
Yeah.
Do you have a carton strapped to your chest at all times? Yeah, very nice. That was a cool sound, by the way.
Thanks a lot, yeah. I got more.
This guy provides his own sound effects.
Somebody asked you, Sushant, in an interview about becoming a star. And you said, I don't know what that is and I don't intend to become one. Are you not at all seduced by the notion of stardom?
No, if you give it to me, I keep it. Because I don't know what I would do without it. So I'll just keep it. But at the same time, if you don't give it to me, I don't miss it. Because that's not something that I'm looking forward to. I'll be very honest, when I started, that was the incentive that I was... am I...
Yeah, you're back on.
Yeah. So that was the incentive that I was trying to give myself into dropping out of the college.
That you'll be a star one day.
Yeah, I'll be a star. I'll be the next big thing. That's it. So I convinced myself, and I wanted that to some extent, just because I didn't have those things. All my 18, 19 years of my life, nobody actually looked at me and said that, oh, you exist. Nobody, because I was such an introvert. And at the same time, although we were not that poor or something, but then money was a differentiator in each and every decision that my family used to take. And I remember wanting to go to this university, but I couldn't because I didn't have that much money, and I was a small kid. And I was like, wow, it's such an unfair world because I can't do something that I want to do because I don't have something that I possibly cannot earn at this point of time. So I was like, wow, this is very, very important. So when you don't have it, a small part of it can buy you a lot of things. But after that point of inflection, a lot will buy you just a small thing. So that is the irony of it. I realized it thanks to TV because I got that recognition, I got money, and I realized, wow, that's it. This is what I was working for. But thankfully, I was doing something that kept me going, that I really wanted to do, and that I've been doing all this while. So you tell me I'm a superstar, I'll take it. You'll tell me that you're the biggest star. You would be the biggest star of this industry. I'll say probably yes. And if you tell me that I don't think that you're a star, I'm with you. So I don't care.
It's not about career. It's about believing in something. It's about prosperity, and it's about caring and empathizing and wanting to create the best, the most true to life, the most real.
Well, that's something that you wouldn't hear a lot of Hollywood people say. What you just
That's why I don't hang out and talk to those Hollywood people, because they're there to hurt me. They're there to hurt my views.
I think in order to evolve as both a person as an actor, you need to be fearless somewhat and kind of push yourself and dare to be bad, I guess. Don't be afraid to fail, and in fact, I've failed many times. But failure teaches you how to succeed, I guess.
But Sushant, what we see so much, especially the media, the Hindi film industry and stars are covered endlessly. We read about you guys every single day. What we see is that part of your life that is buying the 30 lakh bike because you feel like it, okay? What we see is the glamour, is the red carpet, is all of that. What we don't see really is the failure, which is also very public. Yep. You've had films that didn't do well, films that you really put your heart and soul into, like Vyomkesh. Yeah, Vyomkesh, which I love, but not many other people did. You were doing Pani with Shekhar Kapoor, and after months and months of prep and conversation, that project doesn't take off. Now, I know you said you gained from just those conversations with Shekhar, but that night when you know it's not happening, or that Friday night when the film is dead on arrival, how do you move forward? How do you get up the next Saturday morning and say, I'm going to do it all over again?
I do it all the time, and trust me, you all do it all the time. That thing that the term that I use, the impact bias, that is a thing. No matter what your Friday is, when your film releases, the next Friday, you'll come back to the same mental state. Even if it's and I think it's an experiment that has been done since many years. So a very successful, good-looking guy becomes paraplegic, and a regular guy wins a lottery. So there's a huge spike in both the graphs, and after 6 months, they come back to their neutral position, everybody of them. So this is what we do so we overestimate the impact that's going to happen if we are successful or if we fail, but it doesn't happen like that.
And do you get sad, or not even that?
Of course I do get sad all the time, because I look at the work I do normally. Dhoni is the only film that when I watched, I was not watching the monitor when I was shooting it. I was just looking at it and I'm like, boy, a good man, that's it. Before that, when I used to dub for the film, I was like, oh, I know that you're pretending, or you're not that honest, or I could have done that. So yeah, that's
So Dhoni is the first time you felt like you had acted?
Yes.
You patted yourself on the back?
I was smiling all the time. I was like, wow.
You have this very particular point of view on how you want to work, and then there's the business that you sometimes will have to deal with.
The business always goes for what you do best. When critics start speaking up and they believe in something, then you have the power to get blowjobs, basically, from the corporate leaders. I mean, I found myself being blown by America's film corporations. It's nice.
Yeah?
Yeah. I come in their fucking lens.
After that movie, you started knocking back scripts. Why was that?
I just wanted to protect my career, I guess. But what I discovered after that was, people in Hollywood can't hear no. They don't like to hear no. And so I had a lot of fun saying no for a year.
So playing hard to get works?
I think so. But look, the last 5 months of that hard to get period just flipped around. I was like, come on, employ me.
Tell me, you got into the film industry, which, has now become, of course, far, far more professional. There are corporates, there's studios, there's it's a very different place from when I first started working. But it's still very much a family-run business. Yes. It is still, no matter what we think and what we say, it is a very nepotistic place. As an outsider, how difficult was it for you to negotiate this?
It would be very right for me to say anything about this because I got all the films that I did and all the films that I'm doing in next 2 years. These are the films that I really wanted to do, not because these were the best offered to me, but these are the films that I really wanted to do. So I didn't have to wait in between. I got the films that I wanted to do, so I can't complain. But it doesn't mean that it's not there. It is there. When you're successful in a way that people recognize it, your film does well at box office. When you are successful as an outsider, you'll be discussed, but in a very hushed tone, and that's about it. And people are willing to just forget about it. But if you're an insider and you win, you're successful, it's multiplied by 10. If you lose, it's divided by 10. So that's the mathematics. But of course, you'll be affected when you're trying to make a point, to get that feedback from people around. But I don't. I'm not saying that I don't care what you feel when you watch my film, because I do care, that, as I said, when that resonance happens, and when I do a kind of an insinuation as an actor, and I'm just hoping that you get it, and you get it, I feel very good about it. But those are the 10 days or 15 days of the release of the film. When I choose a film, when I prep for the film, when I work for the film, I don't think about the audience as well.
You're not invested in box office success or failure.
I don't know people who are invested in box office success in the industry that they claim to. They understand how it works, because nobody can guess. I have still not found any book that claims that this is how you'll get 100 crores in your next film. I've read it all, trust me. But it doesn't...
There's no formula.
There's no formula. It's only that after a film does something, we sit down in a very nonchalant way and we say that, oh, this is why, what happened. So we try to logically explain, so it's always the effect, and then we manufacture the cause after that, but not before that. So nobody knows what's going to happen. So if this is the case, if this is the chaos, let me find a pattern in that. Let me just not care about it, and let me be very selfish into thinking that, okay, this is a film, I don't know the director, nobody knows the director, but I like the script, I'll do that.
So with this film, you've of course done a deep dive into the character of Dhoni. You've spent a year in training, you've talked to his friends, and of course the man himself. And you know, a lot of the conversation around the film is about the prep that you've put in. And you know, at one level, that's a given. That's your job,
yes.
Right? We shouldn't be applauding you because you worked
absolutely
for a role.
True. Absolutely
right?
True. Yeah.
But we do, because it doesn't happen a lot.
Right.
Okay, so it is amazing, the kind of sort of dedication, the fact you didn't do any other films. You know, you put your focus and your mind into this one movie. And on the other hand, there's also sort of a gentle mocking of this kind of intensity and seriousness. You know, last year I was talking to one of your contemporaries, another young actor, and I was talking about putting together some panel, and I said, oh, maybe I can ask Sushant, and he says, not in a mean way, but he said, oh, he'll go all Daniel Day-Lewis on it. So, how do you deal with that? I mean, do you think about these things at all?
I do sometimes. I used to get affected, I won't lie. But now it doesn't affect me that much. I don't know how I've gotten immune to it. But I've realized that if they look at me and they smile, they feel happy, and I get to know about it, I'll be slightly more happier than what I am already. But people have a tendency that they will tell you that either if the film is not like my Byomkesh, I worked the same in that film too.
You work very hard there, yeah.
True,
yeah.
But then people say, so after the film is released and it didn't do very well at the box office, then people say, oh, so they'll make up something. Just to, you know, as I said, we look back and we try to make sense of everything. But then, like right now, people say, oh, you have done this, or the nuances are in place and the body language is there, but we are supposed to do that.
If you have to keep things fairly near the surface to protect yourself from getting too hurt, you do have to have something that's deeper, and that would tend to be more than the average person, I suppose, than the family?
Yeah, it is, I think, the family and yourself, you know. I mean, in many ways, you rely on your imagination and you dig deeper into your mind for company and for security, and I think it helped me creatively as far as music goes. As far as playing guitar, I would go into a room and play for hours and really get involved in this little fantasy world of music and the images I created in my mind, and that sparked a lot for me.
You know, whenever Aang does speak, certainly during this time, it was always very few words, and they were always very profound, somewhat poetic little statements that just somehow made complete sense, you know, perfect sense. I think one of the things he focused in on me is, obviously you can see me sitting here when I'm nervous, my hands are like going everywhere, and it's very hard for me to stay still, and I'm even like that kind of in the rehearsal process. I'm kind of, you know, spitting on my words, and Aang would just, I think, you know, he saw that in me, and he would just keep on repeating, you know, stillness, stillness, stillness. And so I was like, okay, well, this is obviously my weakness, you know, on this job, and so I took that away. There were obviously many other things, but then, you know, the stillness actually ended up being one of the easiest sides of this job. Once I got out, you know, into the wilderness and amongst these majestic mountainsides and rivers and trees, and you know, you truly become a product of your environment, and so the stillness just kind of happened.
Are you in life a shy, sort of reticent person, and do you transform? I mean, like I've seen Sridevi work, and you know, in life she's very quiet, but you put that camera on and it is magic.
Yeah.
Are you that person?
Yeah, because I don't see a sense, because every time I try to say something, either I could sense a loss of meaning in what I'm thinking and in the words that I'm using.
You can't articulate what you think.
Yeah, so that thing, or maybe I could see through that, okay, I'm repeating somebody. I've borrowed opinions from somebody, and I'm just making it my own just to come across as somebody who knows his shit. But yeah, I could see through it, and I stop in between because I have to face myself at least. So yeah, that is the reason I don't. There is a saying that goes like, if you know nothing, you say a lot. If you know something, what's there to say? So yeah, I'm more towards that.
What do you do in all that extra time that you have?
Since I don't like to talk that much, so I don't have many friends, I read. I read different books, not to get out something out of it, but just to have a different take on things.
And what do you do for fun, Sushant?
That is my fun. Like it's my. So that's why people find me very, very boring. I try to pretend at times that okay, this is also something that I'm very, very good at, but yeah. But ultimately, they can see through.
You don't go out a lot, no partying, none of that.
I do, and then sometimes I get hammered, and then people find me very exciting, interesting.
Talk a lot when you're.
Yes, for some reason they're like, we love you. In
when
the
you've
party.
had a few drinks?
Yeah, you're like 5 drinks down, and so it's so happening, you know. And just realizing that, I know that normally I would be so boring because if that is interesting. So yeah, so normally I don't talk to many people because they also don't want to talk to me. They want to have a good time.
I can't really explain why I understand what I understand. I just do. And to try to figure it out, I think would kind of ruin it, you know. I want to leave it like a mine of gold, you know, without ever mining it, you know, and selling it. I don't want to sell it off. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to understand it in a way that will exploit the pureness. So I just leave it. I don't understand it, but I believe it.
You're a natural.
I'm not saying anything.
I'm saying it.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, I thought you did a wonderful performance in that.
I kind of like to fear it somewhat, you know. If it frightens me a little bit, then that means that it's something that perhaps I care about, and also something that would challenge me and improve you know, and better me as an actor and perhaps as a person.
So my experiences are very, very important. If I like the script and I play the third character, I'll still do it.
It's not about the footage.
It's not about the footage. It's about I'm a very selfish actor. I just think about myself when I'm signing the film and when I'm shooting for the film. It has to do with my experiences and my exploring, my failures, my stumbling upon something very, very unique, fresh, and I don't know how to deal with it, and I somehow work with it and make it my own. So that thing.
I've had a pretty good life, very kind of random at times and exciting. For me, you know, being true is all I can do. You know, that's all I can do in my craft that makes it valid for me.
You get a real sense watching your movies that you're having a great adventure, you know, a boy's own adventure.
Yeah.
Is that how you describe it?
Yeah, definitely in A Knight's Tale. That's how. Yeah, it was an adventure. It was a playground. It was a big playground, and it was lots of fun.
And continuing to have fun is really what drives Heath Ledger. In true Aussie fashion, this homegrown hunk doesn't take himself or his success too seriously.
I'm not even giving my agents my phone number. I've got all these faxes slipped under my door saying, call me. And I have fun not calling him now. And
So is this about playing hard to get, or is this about having time off?
Well, yeah, it is with my agent, because I like playing games like that with him. But it is. It's purely about just having time off. I have so much fun making movies, and I really love what I do, but ultimately you work to live, and I just got to give back the equivalent and just live a little, that's all.
Ultimately, as I said, fame is not a drive, but if I'm not famous, people won't hire me for the job I want to do. So in that ways, I want that. But
it's a means to an end.
Yeah, it's a want, basically. It's not the drive. It's the same with that, because I spent so many months actually preparing. I was not regretting my hard work, because I learned a lot of things. Like this is, if this was the only thing that I would have learned, I would still be happy. When I was in school, 4 to 5:30 p.m. was my playing time. I was good in studies, but my entire day revolved around that 4 to 5:30. And it was amazing that so early I could see that how time also is so subjective. That every hour was like an hour, but 4 to 5:30 was like 5 minutes. So I was like, and I'm living that 4 to 5:30.
That's your whole life now.
For whole life now. So it's not about anything else. I cannot think about anything. That's why I can't sleep. Because I get up like this. It's not about, oh, I want to hold on to everything that's good right now. It's just that I am so excited for nothing.
You do take home, you know, these characters and you grow out of them, you know, like anything, like any stage in life. I'm not glued to anything, nor do I feel insecure about any changes that might take place. I welcome an end to this all if that's what should be. I don't mind that. In fact, I would rather quit while I was ahead. Yeah, there's no need in overstaying your welcome.
Looking back on all the things you've done, do you have any regrets? Anything that you would do differently now?
I'd do it all differently.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. I've never been completely satisfied by anything I've done, and I always believe I can do more or did less, and yeah, but in terms of regrets, I don't regret anything, because regrets I find to be a waste of time, because there's nothing you can really do about anything in life that you regret. So yeah, so I appreciate everything big and small that I've been a part of. Yeah.
Whose career would you like to emulate?
My career, 20. I mean, like, I would like to be what I want to be 20 years down the line. So if I get there, I'll be very happy. There's one thing that I think James Dean said, if I'm not wrong. He said that it's very hard to be a good actor. It's harder to be a good human being, and I want to be both before I'm done. So probably that.